Now I'd like to share a little bit about our keynote speaker, Jessica Lamb. Jessica Lamb has been an ally and an advocate for gay, lesbian, and transgender issues for over 2 decades and has appeared nationally on television programs such as Larry King Live, The Ricky Lake Show, Don Francisco Presenta, Mary Elvira Live, Seven Dias, Despierta America, and many other televised programs and newscasts. Some of Jessica's accomplishments include the creation and production of South Florida's first transgender education symposium in May of 2010, the TransCon. She has been and continues to speak at many universities and high schools, engaging students and educators through workshops, lectures, and stories, and is also a published children's book author with her book, The Adventures of Tina and Jordan. Additionally, she has facilitated transgender sensitivity trainings for Best Buy and AMC movie theaters, among other venues and offices. She is known to have worked with local South Florida nonprofit organizations such as Pridelines Youth Services, the Yes Institute, the Alliance for GLBTQ Youth, and as an educator for Safe Schools of South Florida. She is a recognized known leader in the LGBTQ+ community and has served on the board of directors for the Aqua Foundation for Women, Saved Aid, and Drag It Out. She currently serves as the vice president for the International Transgender Certification Board, is a standing board member of Trans Connect, and the owner of Jessica Lamb Enterprises, Inc. Jessica is a proud advocate, educator, philanthropist, and entrepreneur, utilizing her skills and talents to help make a positive difference in this world. Please join me in giving a warm Bearcat welcome to Jessica.
What's up, Sam Houston State University? I'm so happy to be here. I'm coming live from Miami, Florida for your Lavender Graduation Celebration. So I'm so honored to be here for you today and to have this opportunity to share my story and to offer you some words of encouragement as you move on to the next phases of your life. I'm so grateful for this opportunity. There's one thing for me that's created a lasting impact through all the phases of my life. And can you hear me out there? Yes. All right. Thumbs up out there. Amazing. Thanks. So, if there's one thing for me that created a lasting impact through all the times in my life, all those phases of my life, that was a mission statement. And I'd encourage you to find one for yourselves. At a very young age, I determined that what I really wanted to do was to make a difference with my life. Your mission statements might sound a little different. That's going to be something personal to you, something that you're passionate about. I wanted to make a difference with my life. I wanted to make a difference with music, through education, through my family, through my friends. Making a difference, that can mean so many things. With every decade of my life, I've done exactly that. And the best way I knew how was with the wisdom I accumulated throughout all those years, and especially those years that I spent in school. So I hope today, with my words, I can help to make a difference for you. So, if there's one question that every human on this planet asks of themselves, no matter where you were born, no matter who raised you, doesn't matter if you were left on a deserted island somewhere and raised by wolves, at some point, we all reach a point of this ever so existential question, right? Can you guess what that question might be? Who am I? So, who am I means a lot of different things. Am I a fork? Am I a spoon? Maybe I'm a spork, I don't know. But, if you were raised by wolves like Mowgli in the Jungle Book, right? At some point in time, you're going to ask yourself, am I a wolf? You're going to look and say, well, I'm not hairy like a wolf. I don't walk on all 4 legs. I don't have sharp teeth like wolves. My ears don't look the same. Well, who am I? What's my place in this world? I've come to that all the time, that sort of question of who am I? That's so fundamental. So who am I? Let's find out, and we'll watch a little bit of my Larry King interview.
Actually underwent gender reassignment surgery. Let's take a look at part of her story.
When I was little, I used to wish that I could get up and put on a skirt. I was this little boy who wanted to be a girl. Now that I can get up, go grab me a skirt and wear it to work, guess what I'm wearing? A pair of jeans. It's not what the world around me would say was normal, I hate having to say that, normal. And I don't have to go around telling people that. Why? I shouldn't have to. Just accept me. We'll take care of it.
Technically, pizza's healthy because it's got meat, and if you want, you can have fruits and vegetables. Like, I'm upset that she took away a father, but in return that she gave me another parent, a better parent for me.
Some of my family did not agree with my decision. You know, they were uncomfortable with it. Some of them are still uncomfortable with it. But they're willing to accept me. Chris, you want to say grace then? And our love is unconditional.
Good evening. You'll meet a number of people tonight in this situation. Jessica Lamb, the 37-year-old in that piece there, will be with us throughout the show. Born male, underwent gender reassignment surgery 4 years ago. She's the parent of 2 sons, of whom she has full custody, by the way, and they're with us as well. Jesus Lamb is 17 years old, and Christopher Lamb is 16 years old. Jessica, what was your name as a male?
Jesus Lamb.
You were Jesus?
Yeah, he's junior.
When did you first know in your life something was wrong?
At a very young age. I mean, I could remember being 4 or 5 years old. I used to have this fascination with Linda Carter and Wonder Woman, and how she would just twirl around and become this beautiful woman. I used to pretend there was a box, that I could crawl through this box, and when I'd come out the other side, I'd be a girl. And this was as early as 4 or 5.
But you went on, what profession?
Well, I always aspired to be a musician, an actor, so that's what I pursued later in life. Yeah, I did.
And you got married?
I got married in
and
my...
fathered 2 wonderful sons.
Yes, I did.
How did you decide to change?
Well, it was something that has always been underlying. Whenever I was alone with my thoughts were that I was in the wrong gender. And I did everything that I could throughout the course of my life to be a guy. You know, my parents never said to me, you know, that they raised me to be a boy, basically, and that's what they knew.
So, but you made a decision one day
I did
to
make
do
that
gender
decision.
reassignment.
Absolutely.
How did you tell first Jesus?
Well, I told both my children, and I sat them
How
down.
did you tell your wife?
Well, she knew early on. She may not have known my desire to have full sexual reassignment surgery, but she knew I used to like to cross-dress. So the first time I told her, it was obviously very emotional for her. I mean, she was very angry, obviously.
How did you get the children?
That happened much later on, after we got divorced.
I guess you're not friendly.
We are friendly,
You
actually.
are.
We're very good friends at this point.
Does she get to see her children?
Yeah, we have shared parental responsibility, yes.
And Jesus, what was it like when she told you? How'd she tell you?
Well, I kind of grew up with it since I was 3. She was like this, so
She was feminine.
Mm-hmm.
But you never thought she was gay?
No, I never thought that. I just thought she was a parent. It really didn't matter how she appeared to be.
How did she tell you?
I'm
going to change.
Yeah, I didn't really ask when I was younger, but when I was like 11, I did ask, and she told me that it's how she felt like she was inside, not how she appears to be and everything.
How did you take it, Chris?
Yeah, I was fine with it. Like,
Really?
Yeah, I mean, like, it's what makes her happy. So, you know, we should be happy. We should be supportive, because like she's taught us to be more supportive, to be open-minded. So when she told us, it really wasn't a difference to us.
How'd your mother take it?
Like she said, it was very emotional. You know, she wasn't very accepting, but you know, she was still supportive. You know.
Did she remarry?
Yeah.
She did.
She did.
You get
remarry.
along with your stepfather?
Yeah, we do. We get along a lot. You know, he lives in New York now, but it's still good.
What do you call Jessica? Mom? Jessica? Pop? What?
They still call me
I got
Daddy.
used to calling her JC, you know, but we used to call her Daddy. But in public, we would say, you know, Mom, or, you know, something like that.
Of course, she's a beautiful girl.
Well, thank you, Larry King. So, you know, I am more than my gender, however. So, you know, what do you think about when you're alone with your thoughts? What is going on for you? You know, I'm more than the color of my skin. I'm more than what my parents and the people who loved and believed in me, I'm more than what they think that I was or who I am. You know, they can be wrong sometimes, you know? The only way to know who you are is you. You're the only one that could answer that question. This is who I am. I'm the oldest of 4 children. I'm a Chinese Cuban. I'm a musician. I'm a DJ. I'm an entertainer. I'm an educator. A role model. A grandparent. Now, in that Larry King video, I was in my 30s. That was about 10 years ago for me. My children are in their 30s now, so they're young men. So I'm a father, And sometimes I'm a mother. I'm me. Well, I'm me because everyone else is taken. Nobody else could be me. Did you know that there could never, ever be any two people alike, not even twins? They're two different people. No one can clone you and create a duplicate you. It could be someone that looks like you, but it's not you. So I'd like everybody to repeat after me here. So I want you to say, I am unique. I am special. I am flawed. My flaws make me beautiful. I am amazing. I am a remarkable, extremely important, badass, super astonishing, pretty awesome person, and I'm smart too. And I'm still in the process of becoming. Because yes, you're always in the process of becoming. You'll always be. You're becoming that person that will be uniquely you. There will never, ever, 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 and I'll throw in a couple more ever, 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 evers, be another soul that's exactly like you. Never in the history of all time, in all space-time continuums and dimensions. What makes you is you, and your time here on this planet is important. So what mark will you make on this planet? I promise you, life will not always turn out how you planned it. It won't look like you planned it. It won't look like how you might have thought it was. I mean, I couldn't even dream what my life at 50 now looked like when I was in my 30s. Yet I'm here. I kind of knew the direction I was going, and I knew I'd be a woman by this time. You know, and some of us, we're just faking it till we make it. That's okay. Don't worry so much. It will be all right, even if it isn't. Know that in those moments you're feeling hopeless, that in every passing minute, in every passing second, there's another opportunity to turn that around. And turn it around, you can. Absolutely. One thing my father taught me, and he was one of those guys who would make the family sit in front of the TV to watch a Star Trek episode before dinner, okay? 6 o'clock, we're watching Star Trek on WCIX back in the day. And then at the dinner table, my dad would ask us, so tell me, kids, what did you learn from tonight's episode? Because he always felt there was a lesson that could be learned from everything in life, even from Mr. Spock. So here's how I always thought of my dad. You see that picture there of Ricky Ricardo and Bruce Lee? Yeah, so if you mix the two of them, that was kind of my dad. So, you know, I lost my dad 10 years ago, unexpectedly. You know, my siblings, my brother found my father's body. You know, he had passed away in his house, in his bed, unexpectedly. We don't know why he left us. We just know that he did. There's things that are out of our control, right? And one of the most important things in my life was my father's funeral. I didn't realize how much, you know, my dad was this obstinate Cuban man who couldn't for the life of him say to me, I love you, or I'm proud of you, right? I was a 17-year-old punk, and I'd go to my dad and say, Dad, why can't you say the 3 simplest words in the language, and that's I love you? 3 little words, right? Yeah, they pack a punch when somebody says I love you, right? It makes you feel something. I'm proud of you. Those are another words I wanted to hear from my dad. My dad said to me, I'm a 17-year-old punk, and he's saying, let me ask you a question, my dad says to me. Let me ask you a question. Do I go to work every single day? And I'm like, yeah, you do. Okay, so do you have a house that you can live in and a roof to live under? Sure, Dad, I do. Do I come home and I sit down at the dinner table and we have dinner together as a family? Sure, Dad, we do from time to time. And then he says to me in his Cuban accent, I don't need to tell you I love you. I'm showing you. And I'm like, but you know, Dad, 3 words, come on. You know, that was me at 17. So when I lost my dad at the age of 40, God, that was so hard for me. I was at his funeral. And there was this woman at the funeral. Now, since my dad died unexpectedly, my siblings and I, we just threw a ceremony together, a wake for him, and we threw this all together at the last minute. We sent out, a thing to his Teamsters letting him know that he had passed and if they wanted to come and honor him at the wake and such. And we didn't know what to expect. We thought that we were only going to see immediate family, but hundreds of people showed up there. And my brothers and my sister and I were looking at each other like, who the hell are all these people? And this one lady, now if I know what a lesbian looks like, she was probably a lesbian. And she walks up to me, and she says to me, "You're the oldest, aren't you?" And I'm like, "Yeah, I am." And she says to me, "Your dad, I worked with him for 30 years. I knew your dad for 30 years. And when your mom and dad got divorced, he started dating. And he used to tell me that before he'd date anybody, he'd actually ask them, listen, my son's transgender, and if you're not okay with it, there's the door." And I'm like, wow, my dad would actually, stand up for me like that with the people he would start to date. And I go to my mom, did you know dad used to say stuff like that? And my mom was like, yeah, your dad used to say, this is our kid. We got to love our kid for who they are, regardless, right? I didn't know that. The point is that you never know who your allies were. And I'd be damned that my father was proud of me. He loved me. And he used to tell people that. He was a Bruce Lee fan, right? Be water, my friend. Empty your mind. Be formless, shapeless like water. You put water into a cup, it becomes the cup. You put water into a bottle, it becomes the bottle. You put it in a teapot, it becomes a teapot. Now, water can flow or it can crash. Be water, my friend. So in other words, go with the flow, dude. You've got no control over what happens to you. You have control over how you'll react, how you'll respond, how you adapt, how you decide to change or not change, and what you learn from it all. You see, my father also taught me the value of the Serenity prayer. He made me memorize it as a kid. It goes, God grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, courage to change the things I can, and wisdom to know the difference. Wisdom to know the difference. As a kid, I was like, what does that mean? You see, I've come to learn about the importance of learning what you can and cannot control. I can't change what people think about me, but I can set an example. I can show others and be the change I want to see. People can call me the wrong gender pronoun till they're blue in the face. That doesn't change who I know myself to be. So it's important to think about these things. I've come to realize that all those stories in my life, those stories I wanted to forget, those moments that were so difficult during those tough times I just wanted to build walls around those memories and forget it ever happened. But those stories, that was me. Those stories make me who I am today. See, stories don't really disappear. They still exist whether you choose to try to forget them or not. Because you can't change the past. You can't change what you've done. But those stories change when you've taken on a new perspective. And sometimes it takes years to look back and realize. And what happens is they become different stories. They become learning stories. They become part of your testimony. And they're important. They're so important. And here's why. So I had this dream once, right? I was in my late 30s. It was a dream that came after a night of chatting with an old high school mate of mine who had once known me as a young man, right? She met me now as Jessica Lamb. She was so fascinated. It's like, oh my God, dude, you changed. She and I used to hang out at the mall. We'd go to concerts together and go on road trips. Well, in this dream, we were at a shopping mall buying concert tickets. And after we left the Ticketmaster, because that's where we bought tickets back then, at a Ticketmaster, not online like everybody does today. We were actually in a mall doing this. We went down a corridor, right? In my dream, okay? This is my dream. I went down this corridor, and as we walked out to the door at the end of the tunnel, we were transported, whoosh, back in time. And over in the distance, I saw a band performing. They were good. They were like real good. So we walked over to see who was playing. Well, wouldn't you know it? It was my old rock band. It was my 17 or 18-year-old me playing on that stage. So funny that in my dream, here I am, my almost 40-year-old self, just as you see me here today in your video screen. There I was in my dream watching my 18-year-old self up on that stage performing. I remember thinking to myself, wow, I was talented. I even thought I'm a good-looking guy. I also remember thinking, I know exactly what I'm feeling in this moment in my life. I was lost. I was struggling with my gender identity. I felt ugly, unattractive, trapped, struggling, and lonely. I knew and I saw an opportunity to change all that in my dream. I'd been through it, so I can unveil the secrets of the universe and stop myself from all the bad relationships I would ever have, avoid the struggles, the pain, the heartache, that it was okay to transition and that I'd be fine, better than fine. I'd excel, I'd succeed. It was going to be fine. But then in that moment, I had another thought. Dun, 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 dun. It was Doc's brown voice from the Back to the Future telling me I would create a space-time paradox and cause the universe to unravel if I did that. So no, I couldn't say any of those things because I'd cease to exist like Marty McFly if he changed the past. So instead, after the concert, right in my dream, I decided to walk up to my younger 18-year-old self and do the one thing that I knew I probably needed in that moment. And that was to hug my younger self and tell him, with all the love and wisdom that I've got in my heart now, it's going to be okay. You will be okay. Except that in that very same moment in my dream, while I was embracing my younger self, my almost 40-year-old self, hugging my 18-year-old self, right? I transformed into my 18-year-old self and thought, who the fuck is this old lady and what the hell does she know about my life? So you see, I came to realize that I was not ready to hear all the secrets of the universe. I wanted to pull the curtain to life and share all my experience to prevent my own suffering in my dream, right? But apparently, I needed that pain, that struggle to become the woman I am today. See, eventually, if we allow ourselves to experience it, we all become the experts of our own life. And sometimes progress in life is a series of failures and insecurities until we finally get it right. If we get it right. Life is that pursuit of perfection that we'll never quite reach. Just ask an immortal. Really, it's all part of a journey of becoming a vampire, an immortal. No, I'm kidding. We're always in the state of becoming. We can only hope that we become better versions of ourselves in time. That's really it. It takes time, though. Time is eventually what heals wounds. Those wounds we feel when we first felt our moments of our parents turning their back on us because they didn't accept us for who we are, because they didn't understand. They didn't understand what you were going through, but how could they? Because they're not you. The truth is, there are two sides of every story. All right, so in a television interview, my mom had told the interviewer that I used to have this dark cloud over my head. I was seemingly this happy boy with a wonderful family, with a smile on my face, loving siblings, good friends. I went on vacations, I'd laugh, I'd have a good time. I was, from all appearances, well-adjusted. I was a smart kid. I was cool. But there was a dark cloud over my head, and my mom didn't understand why was there a dark cloud. Interestingly enough, during the pandemic, I picked up my dad's old VHS tapes. They'd all been converted to DVDs, so I was trying to convert them to digital files. So you know what I did was I inadvertently, over the course of a weekend during the pandemic, I binge-watched my life over the course of a weekend on video. Can anybody do that out there? That'd be pretty amazing if you could, right? There it was, though, when I was watching those videos, that dark cloud my mom was talking to me about. I was thinking to myself as I was watching these videos, why? Get out of your own way, kid. Look at your family around you. They need you. They love you. I can see the hurt in my family's body language in the video when I was just like ignoring them. I just wanted to wake myself up through that television screen and say, there are good things happening all around you, and you're being tortured. My family wanted to be with me. Apparently, I didn't want to be there. It was hard for me to watch that, especially now in retrospect. So it made me imagine how hard it was for my family, what my family went through because of me. I can only see that now through goggles 2020. Of course, I knew why. I knew why I had that dark cloud. I knew what I was feeling in those videos. I could see it. My body was betraying me. The gender identity issues were stronger than ever, and I had to hide it. I was living in the 1980s, folks. Things were not easy for someone struggling like I was. It was absolutely tough. No laws to protect me. No support groups that I knew of to support me. No role models to give me hope, perhaps only a handful, but they didn't have it easy either. I had no internet. I couldn't type in their, issues or find anything. There was no such thing as the internet. We had a fax machine. It was the dark ages for me. No wonder I had a dark cloud following me. During those times in my life between the ages of 12 and 15, I used to sneak around the house in the middle of the night. Well, who here does things they don't want their parents to know about in the middle of the night? I'm sure every hand can go up here, right? In the middle of the night, what was I doing? I was wearing feminine clothing. I'd create them myself. I would sneak around in the attic and look for my mom's old clothes. I tried to be the girl I wanted to be in the middle of the night. It was my time to experiment, shave my legs, fix my eyebrows, style my hair. I wanted to be Jennifer Beals, dance like a maniac, and be like that girl from Flashdance. But it was one of those nights that I was up and around, getting feminine, trying to be myself while everybody was sleeping, that my mom came out of the room. And I thought to myself, oh my God, she caught me. So I ran into my bedroom, took off whatever I was wearing, threw it under the bed, and buried myself under the covers and I hoped to God that she didn't see me. But she did, and she walked into the room. In those moments that followed, my mom thought I wasn't feeling well. So she asked, son, are you feeling okay? She felt my forehead, put her hand on my tummy, and somehow in that moment, I found the courage to tell my mom the truth. I said something no parent wants to hear from their child at 3 o'clock in the morning. I said, Mom, I have something to tell you. Oh my gosh, she grabbed the dresser to support herself and asked, ay mijo, ¿qué pasa? Thinking I'd say something like, Mom, I'm sexually active and I think I got a venereal disease or I got a girl pregnant. Listen, she wasn't ready to hear what I was about to say. And in retrospect, it would have been easier for her than what I was about to say. I told her, Mom, sometimes at night I pray to God and wish that I was a girl. And what she told me after I poured my heart out to her about everything I had been struggling with through my childhood, she said to me, and I'll never forget, well, I had a son and not a daughter, and those thoughts are wrong. You need to get that out of your head. Stop thinking about it. Do more boy things. Get a girlfriend. Yeah, that would help. I'm a lesbian, folks, so a girlfriend wasn't going to help me. Basically, what I heard, though, at the age of 14, when my mom said this to me, this is what I heard. I heard her say to me, and this was in my own mind, I don't love you. You're wrong for feeling that way. I needed to hide my feelings better. No one will ever understand me or want me. I took it really hard. I took it personal. It was a cross that I had to bear for another 10 years of my life. But at 50 years old, I look back at this conversation. What I hadn't considered in that conversation was what my mom was going through in that moment. She was doing the best she could with the information that she had at the time. Again, folks, this is the 1980s. We barely had Oprah back then, okay? But she still loved me. And her response, her reaction was based on her own understanding of the world. It wasn't that she didn't love me, because she didn't kick me out of the house, right? She didn't take out a belt and whip me into submission. She didn't kill me. She just told me some things to try to deter my thoughts. What she really meant to say that I couldn't hear because I was dealing with my own insecurities is that I love you so much, and based on my understanding of the world right now, this is a dangerous way for you to be. She just couldn't comprehend what I was going through. How could she? She wasn't prepared with the right information or tools to help me. She was doing the best that she knew she could in that moment. You arm yourselves. Listen, to people. The thing is, there will be a time where you're not going to know how to deal with the moment. So pay attention. Listen carefully. Recognize that you can't possibly know someone else's experience because precisely that, it's not your own experience. But you can do your best to empathize and hope for a constructive conversation that will help you begin the process of moving forward with love and humility and a respect for one another. Maybe help to create a lasting change in your world. So it wasn't until after my transition that dark cloud my mother had noticed, that cloud which followed me my whole younger life, had disappeared. Now, I still experience pain. I still experience hurt. I still feel alone sometimes. But that dark cloud is not there. Why? Because eventually I got to discover that answer to who am I? You know something, ladies and gentlemen, intersexuals and people of all ages, races, and colors? You are special and unique. Once you discover who you are for yourself, it's a superpower. It's like a superpower because it doesn't matter what the world says to you. You know who you are. And that darkness, that darkness is important too, because we need the backdrop of dark space to see stars. You need those dark moments to appreciate the light. Dark moments don't mean that life's a drain. Dark moments are there to support that light. We just have to look for stars. So I want you to repeat after me again. I am unique. I am special. My flaws make me beautiful. They certainly do. I am amazing. I'm a remarkable, extremely important, badass, super astonishing, pretty awesome person, and I'm smart too. And most importantly, I'm still in the process of becoming. And I will always be. The important things in life to understand and to realize is that life is a journey. We are all doing the best we can in any given moment. And two of the greatest lessons you'll come to learn in life as utterly important, this is really important for you to survive the journey. These two things, if you can master this, life will seem a little easier. Forgiveness is the first one. Forgiveness. And here's the other one, patience. These will be the most powerful tools you'll ever learn. Know this. The decisions you make today will affect your tomorrow. But enjoy your youth and pay attention. It's in these years you'll create lasting friendships. You'll also discover the acquaintances you need to network with in the future. Look around you right now. These are the people that if they're not your friends now, they may be later in life because you may be reaching out to them for work. Or they may be reaching out to you for work. You'll be networking with them. I promise you. You'll be surprised. So pay attention. Ultimately, you will find what you're capable of becoming. So use your youth right now to move your life forward, because it's the work you do in this moment that will propel you into your next decade. Or it'll cause you to have a nasty hangover that'll take you another decade to get over. So pay attention. In the end, life is short, I promise you. It is. You never know when your time is up. I learned this because my father died before he was 60. I never thought that I would not be able to grow old without my old man. You'll find yourself one day looking back and wondering, where has this time gone? And you will learn in time about the significance of these short high school and college years. These 4 to 8 years of school is going to be but a fleeting memory, but they're going to be so important you're going to remember it. It's going to weigh over your lifetime. And that lifetime of experience that you're going to get after you leave school, you will quickly begin to uncover along the path of your life, and you will become, at some point, the expert and navigator of your life. So, live like tomorrow's not promised. Prepare for the future that you have control over. Remember that life is a journey, and that any given person in any given time is doing the best they can in any given moment. It's okay to be who you are, just as you are, exactly as you are now. So be kind to yourself, be kind to each other, and may the force be with you. I mean, live long and prosper. Thank you for having me here today. I really appreciate it.
Thank you, Jessica, for speaking with us today.